Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Chad here with another In the OT podcast for BetHubb Sports Blog.com. Today, I'm going to be talking about what happened with Cole Hamels purposely plunking Bryce Harper in last night's Sunday Night Baseball game, resulting in a 5-game suspension that was handed out today. Well, come on. We all know that it's a 1-game suspension. Who does Major League Baseball think they're kidding by saying that it's a 5-gamer when it comes to starting pitcher? We know that they only go once every 5 days. It's a bit of a farce here with them trying to make it seem like they're coming down hard on someone like Hamels here in this situation. But nonetheless, I do believe that they made the right decision here, because anytime someone comes out and publicly admits that they wanted to try to hit somebody, there needs to be some sort of penalty that's paid. Because if there isn't, then all they're doing is setting an example and allowing other pitchers to believe that they can get away with this in the future. And there has to be a line drawn, and that is exactly what Major League Baseball did here. So I do give Bud Selig credit for coming out and doing that. And, it's quite interesting that Hamels decided to actually come out on public record and admit this right after the game. Oftentimes you see a lot of these pitchers that are involved in controversial plays when they do hit hitters not admit it. They don't really want to give much out. They want to remain silent on the issue. So I believe that he had a bit of an agenda here, and he was trying to prove a point, and that's definitely the case if you read some of the quotes after what he said in last night's ball game. He said, I was trying to hit him. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not trying to injure the guy. They're probably not going to like me for it, but I'm going to say I wasn't trying to do it. I think they understood the message and they threw it right back. That's the way, and I respect it. And he would further go on to talk about how this is sort of an homage and a respect to the old school style of baseball that he was used to seeing when he grew up. Quote unquote, that's something I grew up watching. That's kind of what happened. So I'm just trying to continue the old baseball, because I think some people are kind of getting away from it. I remember when I was a rookie, the strike zone was really, really small, and you didn't say anything because that's the way baseball is. But I think, unfortunately, the league's protecting certain players and making not that old school prestigious way of baseball. Now, I think he does bring up some good points in terms of the fact that they are getting away from the old school elements of the game. But does that mean that it justifies what he did? Maybe there's good reason that they got away from allowing guys to plunk batters more than they are in today's era of baseball. I mean, if you just analyze society as a whole, let alone parts of sports, there's a lot of progression made. Sometimes society and human beings start to smarten up and realize that the way they acted 30, 40 years ago wasn't necessarily the best way to do things. And that's why I think it's sort of narrow-minded and stupid for Hamels to believe that, that's a justifiable reason to go out there and plunk Bryce Harper. And furthermore, if he's that fond of paying respect to what used to happen in baseball, I ask him, why hasn't this been happening for the last number of years against other players? Why is it just Bryce Harper that was picked on? I happen to believe that there's a lot of maybe animosity and anger towards this young kid. I think a lot of people are not satisfied with the way he's acting on the field, maybe sort of a little bit punkish and full of himself and conceited, given that he really hasn't accomplished all that much, even though we all know he has a world of talent. And I think that Bryce Harper has done a very good job of getting under his skin, which played a large factor in that. So I actually give Harper some credit here for causing Hamels to maybe get a little bit off his rocker and do something like this, because, if Hamels had been plunking a lot of batters throughout the years, then I could say, it's sort of consistent with what he's done. But I don't believe that to be the case. So to me, this seems like more of an isolated event instead of just saying, it's about something that happened 30 or 40 years ago. Now, I will give him credit for at least admitting it, because like I said, a lot of people would never come out on record doing that, and maybe for him, the stance that he was trying to make was worthy of getting that 1-game suspension. And like he said, he wasn't trying to injure him, and I think when you see the highlight, it's not like he was throwing high heat at his head. It was in his back. It was in an area that it was extremely unlikely to have any severe injury. So I find that no problem right then and there. And you know what? It's, I guess, part of the game. It wasn't the end of the world, but nonetheless, they did have to suspend him. It was the right decision. I also found it quite comical how Charlie Manuel after said it was a stupid thing for him to say. And then, of course, we see what the general manager of the Nationals comes out saying, that it's a pretty low act to do, and all these kind of negative and derogatory terms towards Hamels. But you know what? These are the kind of controversial stories that baseball probably needs to get a little bit more attention put back on it right now, as we're in the heart of the hockey and basketball playoffs, and even the football offseason will always still be a little bit more exciting than the meat of the baseball regular season. So that's the way it goes down. I like what Major League Baseball did with their suspension here. I don't mind Hamels opening up his mouth and defending himself, but I still disagree with his logic and mindset behind it all. Once again here, ladies and gentlemen, it is Chad here with an In the OT podcast for BetHubbSportsBlog.com. Remember to keep checking out the website and our podcast as we continue to produce high-end quality content where I have no problem speaking my mind and breaking down some of these controversies that continue to take place in the world of sports.